Hello and welcome to Hoteliers Voice. In this episode, we're exploring guest experience technology with Ivana Tagliamonte, the owner of Bellport Inn. We'll be looking at how new systems and applications are enabling Bellport Inn to be remotely managed by a team of service staff. We'll learn the services and facilities available, importance of guest experience, the tech ecosystem underpinning operations, and managing remote staff. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Let's get on with the show.
Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
So joining me now is Ivana Tagliamonte, the owner of Bellport Inn. Thanks ever so much for joining us here today, Ivana. Please start off with, tell us all about your gorgeous property.
Well, hello, Ryan. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a real treat to be on your show today. Thank you. Well, the Bellport Inn, we opened in 2021. It's a historic property dating back to 1888, which served as a bed and breakfast and a hotel for decades off and on. And we're located on the south shore of Long Island on the Great South Bay, about an hour and 15 minutes outside of New York City.
Absolutely fantastic. That's wonderful. It sounds very idyllic, and just being outside of the city, you must draw in quite a few local tourists to your property.
We do. We draw in a lot of people that are very curious about the area. We're located between the big city and the Hamptons, which is a very well-known area. Unfortunately, given the geography of Long Island, where it is a long island with only two main roads running east and west. So traffic here is a bit of a thing. So the fact that we're located right in the middle of the island means that people can start their vacation without having to suffer through hours and hours of traffic.
And how many guests can you host within the property?
We are relatively small. We have 7 rooms and a cottage, so we can host up to 21 people.
Oh, lovely. And how do you end up going to market then? Where do you attract most of your customers through?
Most of our clients book directly. They've either found us online or have been referred to us. A lot of them come through our social media channel, and they book directly. Most of them book directly through our hotel.
Oh, fantastic. So having these direct bookings is obviously beneficial for revenue generation and maximizing that profit, but we'll dive a little bit further into that in a little while. Now, you've given us a bit of a sample of the type of guest that you attract. Can you give a bit more detail of the profile of the type of people you tend to host on an average visit?
We actually have wonderful diversity in the type of guests that we attract. We have single travelers that come in from the city. We oftentimes have couples just getting away for the weekend. What's really nice is that because of the size of our property, we also have a lot of people that come through for family reunions. So there's a lot of multi-generational stays. They'll book the entire inn, sometimes for up to a week. And it's really fun to come over here and see, up to 4 generations utilizing the property.
Oh, awesome. It's beautiful because I've seen the property, I've seen that online, seen your website, and it does give such an authentic feel and such a homely sense as well that people can enjoy. So I can certainly imagine that it would deliver such a wonderful experience to all sorts of people, as you mentioned. But what sort of services and facilities do you offer through the hotel to your guests?
We have a number of services. One of the things that I think people appreciate so much is our self-service snack pantries. So when guests arrive, we have 3 kitchens that are either shared or private, and those are fully stocked with treats. Our chef makes homemade cookies. We've got anything from chips to different mixtures of nuts and olives. We also have an honor bar, so guests can help themselves to a beer from the fridge or a bottle of wine. And it's been wonderful because when you first, come in from a long trip, the first thing you want to do is have a bit of a snack. So parents really appreciate that we have cookies for the kids. Anybody that's cranky in the car will instantly leave that crankiness behind because it's just a lovely treats to come into. We also have a wood-burning hot tub that is a new addition to our property. And we chose purposefully not to put in a standard hot tub that you just plug in and turn on, because the wood-burning hot tub is more of a slow soak. It's an experience. You've got to wait for the wood to burn, to warm the water. It's a real nice process, and people really enjoy taking the time to do that. We have 2 outdoor showers that are very popular. I think our most popular amenity is that we offer ferry tickets to Bellport's private beach, which is on the other side of the Great South Bay in Fire Island. And that's probably our most popular offering here.
Now, it's going to take a moment because you don't actually have a hospitality background. You came into this in 2022. Tell us about your background and how you got into hospitality and why you now have the Bellport Inn.
Well, thank you. Yes, we actually purchased the property in 2021. John and I came to see it in late 2020 during COVID. And we'd always wanted to have a business together. And we've traveled together. We've been together for 24 years or so. And we've often stayed at just the smallest little homes. We've stayed at a lot of hostels when we first got together. We'd travel all over Mexico, all over the US. We went to Europe quite a bit. And we love hospitality. We love the idea of hospitality, but we had no formal training in it. I grew up in my mom's restaurant. I'm a real estate broker by trade. My husband's a lighting designer, and we're both we're service oriented. That is the skill that we were able to bring. Just this drive of wanting to have a business together really is the reason why we started the Bellport Inn. And we figured we could learn everything else. So I'm knowing what I know now, I'm glad that I didn't know I didn't know a lot, because I might have been afraid to jump in with both feet.
I was going to say, because you've got a full setup there. You've talked to us about the hotel. You've talked to us about the service and facilities that you offer. So tell me, why is a guest experience so important, and how did you approach that when you were designing the hotel?
Well, we really tapped into all of the things that we loved about our travel experiences, and how do we take each one of those components and put them together in such a special location. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but from the minute that we walked into the property on a very, very cold day in December of 2020, we walked in and we just immediately saw it with such clarity that we could put together a space that had amazing, amazing linens, wonderful, comfortable mattresses, give people a place to just come in and immediately decompress. Also, because we knew that we would attract a lot of people from the city. It's so important to start your downtime and your vacation as soon as you arrive at your destination. We also have this amazing benefit here in Bellport of being surrounded by a community of really talented makers, designers, and craftspeople. And during COVID, we saw that emphasized, the fact that people were sometimes out of work or had decided not to go into the city anymore, and that wanted to stay here in this tiny little town of 2,000 and continue just building their craft. And so it was such an amazing synergy and an amazing opportunity at that time to how do we tap into the local artists, the local photographers, the people here in this town that make their own furniture. We tapped a woman named Babe, a phenomenal woman who makes her own bath products. Everything is hand poured, handmade by one person, and it's all natural ingredients. So for us, we didn't know a lot about hospitality, but we knew that we wanted to create a business based on the principles that both John and I shared. Giving the community a platform, doing things that maybe hadn't been done necessarily before, and not necessarily replicating something that was already established and out there.
Lovely. Now, technology really underpins these operations and delivering this guest experience. And this was the first thing you said to me when we got in contact initially about having this interview. So please do explain how you use technology to deliver this experience and manage your property.
Yes. Well, we were very fortunate in the early days to work with a gentleman by the name of Jonathan at Concrete Hospitality. And he's an expert in building ground up hotels. And while this is a small property, Jonathan came in and he said, really, you want to open a hotel and not have a lobby? And we said, yes, we know it can be done. We know that we can utilize technology to deliver an amazing guest experience without having someone present and someone on site for such a small property. And so it was through endless research, trial and error, but we were able to find platforms that really give that experience of high touch we believe we provide a luxury experience for travelers. And it was just pushing the boundaries, if you will, and understanding what was important and what was not important.
Yeah, I guess, it is about going through, and this is a conversation we always have with hoteliers, big hoteliers that have gone through it, smaller hoteliers that have gone through it, tech consultants. It's about knowing what experience you want to deliver, how you meet those objectives and those goals, and then the systems and applications that are going to help you get there. And this is something that you've actually managed to identify, and you've got a whole lovely ecosystem there working away behind, automated to support you and your staff. So let's delve into some of those systems and applications that you're using. So I know that the core stack, your property management system, you're using Cloudbeds as part of that. And tell me about why you chose them and then some of the other systems that you've got connected to it.
Sure. Well, we chose Cloudbed simply for that it spoke to the other systems that we wanted to implement. What's wonderful is that once a reservation is made, Cloudbeds allows us to send a welcome letter detailing everything that a guest needs to know. And that reservation system is linked to a messaging platform known as Whistle, which has been purchased by Cloudbeds within the last year. And what Whistle allows us to do is set up a digital guest book, which has been a real game changer for us. So the compendiums that you have in print in a hotel when you check in, we've been able to digitize that so that a guest can peruse it ahead of time. They can see what the local restaurants are. They can, by season, take advantage of some of the offerings here. For example, if they come in the springtime, they may want to go on some nature hikes and nature walks. And we have all of that already mapped out for them. If they come in the summer, they obviously are probably drawn to our beaches. In the fall, they may want to go pumpkin picking and apple picking or do the winery tours. In the winter, they may want to visit art galleries and go antiquing. So we have all of these sample itineraries set up. And what's wonderful is we can immediately begin engaging with our potential guests or our guests once they've made the reservation so that they can already start looking forward to the trip. They can already begin envisioning what they'd like their ideal time to be like.
And then you've got, as I say, the reservations that come in, you're connected and you distribute across tablet hotels, B&B, and your own direct channel, with your own direct channel really being massively productive for you.
Yes. About 90% of our bookings are direct.
That's phenomenal. It really is. And then you provide your guests with a code to access the property, the guest portal, as you mentioned, and then through Whistle, the communications by text that allow that self-check-in, the digital reservations, the data that you need from them, and then being able to make those additional orders. And then the phones, their smartphones, control the rooms.
We control everything with our smartphones. We have apps that can open and close the doors for people. We have the ability to turn on and turn off all the air conditioning and the heating systems, our sprinkler systems, and our exterior security cameras.
Wow, it's phenomenal. It's lovely to hear, I guess you can have that confidence that guests are having that experience without you necessarily needing to overly staff the hotel. But do tell me about your staffing situation. What sort of staff do you have available? Where are they? How often are they on site?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, we have a wonderful housekeeping team. So they are contracted out. It is a company that's local. It's female owned. And they have 5 or 6 people that are specifically trained for the Bellport Inn. And what's wonderful is that with an hour's notice, they can be here to turn over the rooms or to address any concerns that a guest may have. I am proud to say that in 3 years, knock on wood, we've never had to have an issue. Once the guest checked in, everything here is pristine. And if you read any of our reviews, you'll see that we get very high marks on a very clean and inviting space. aside from our housekeeping team, we also have 2 assistant managers, and they oversee the text message communication with our guests. And what I will mention that I didn't mention before is that everything is automated. Once a guest makes the reservation and they receive our guest portal, they also receive a welcome text the day prior and the day of arrival with their secure code to enter the property. And you had mentioned that briefly as well, so that they can do self-check-in. But we always try to have a member of our team here just to give that warm and inviting in-person welcome and to show them around and to let them know who they'll be communicating with if they do need something when we're off premises. So while we don't have someone here 24 hours a day, our team is just a few minutes away and always available via text or phone. We also have a fantastic groundskeeper, and then we've got a few folks in the community that help us troubleshoot things like the website and the Wi-Fi. So we're a really great, cohesive small group.
That's excellent to hear. And, the use of technology, having all those systems in place to really leverage those opportunities for you. Any plans for expanding the empire there, Ivana?
Well, we've talked a little bit about having a little similar property in Italy, but I don't know. Right now we're focusing on Bellport.
It's still such early days, I can imagine as well, and still a playground for you to be enjoying at the same time. So it's great to hear your enthusiasm, especially from someone so new to the industry, and also, the clarity that you've had in approaching your tech stack and what you want to deliver to your guests and digitalizing all of that. So thank you for coming on Hoteliers Voice and sharing your experiences with us today.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. It was such a treat. I really am so honored. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you again. So that was Ivana Tagliamonte, the owner of Bellport Inn, looking at the guest experience technology. Check out all our other episodes for Hoteliers Voice as we speak to those hoteliers and accommodation providers about their strategies, their tech stacks, and their business management as things evolve and change in our industry. It's travelmarket.life, or see us on Spotify or Apple or any of your podcast channels. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Thanks for listening. Ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.